welcome back to my channel. Yes, today is Thursday, and we all know it. It's Croak Drinker, and give him a follow. But let's start with greetings. Come on, hello, my name is Daniel. I'm your host, your
guy in the chair.
He said it. He said it.
and today we'll be going with Croak Drinker, and this time to see his thoughts about the new Fantastic Four trailer. Will it be the first steps of the new beginning for Marvel, or will it flop and end in disaster? Let's check it out and enjoy. So enjoy.
It's tough to think of a more quintessential group of superheroes than the Fantastic Four, with their disparate sets of powers and abilities balanced against their interpersonal dramas and rivalries, their iconic blue uniforms, and the equally iconic villains they were pitted against. As Marvel's first family, they really do epitomize that classic 1960s comic book era of optimism, progress, and confidence. So it's kind of weird that Hollywood has made such a complete mess of bringing them to the big screen. From the cheesy Roger Corman movie in the 90s that was made purely to retain the rights to the characters, without telling any of the actors, by the way, to the Tim Story movies from the 2000s that couldn't seem to decide if they wanted to be cool, serious, and edgy, or goofy, disposable popcorn flicks, and so tried to do both at the same time with predictable results. Not to mention the most baffling interpretation of Galactus that the human mind could possibly conceive.
What the hell is even that?
And finally, the tragically but also unintentionally hilarious Fant Four Stick from 2015, a misguided attempt to turn the bright and optimistic superhero team into some dark and edgy story of body horror and psychological trauma made by a man who openly professed to hate in comic book movies and who was, by all accounts, such an incompetent bellend on set that someone else had to finish his own movie for him. And in the 10 years since the Fant Four Stick debacle, he's made a grand total of one movie, which sucked. All of this is to say that the Fantastic Four kind of failed to ride the whole cinematic superhero wave, either coming too early before the genre had properly matured, or trying to muscle their way in at the peak of popularity with a rushed and poorly made product. But what's a difference a decade and a major corporate acquisition makes? And now here we are. The Fantastic Four have come back to Marvel after more than 30 years in the wilderness. Ironically enough, they might actually be facing the opposite problem now, finally figuring out how to make the IP work on the big screen, only to realize they're 10 years too late. The wave has passed and people just aren't that interested anymore. But I'll come back to that one later. Believe that. Anyway, all this bullshit brings me to the first teaser trailer for the new Fantastic Four movie, First Steps. Because this is the first step towards rebuilding the MCU, I guess. So what do I actually think about it? Well, I kind of like it.
Really?
For a start, it's set in an alternate 1960s style retro-futuristic universe, because I guess Marvel aren't quite ready to admit that the whole multiverse thing was their worst idea since trying to build Captain Marvel as the new face of the MCU. You know, I wonder what the hell Brie Larson's even up to these days. Oh, okay. Good luck with that one, Brie.
It's Hollywood, baby.
But it does allow the film to avoid all the MCU baggage and the expectations and the ridiculously convoluted storylines that have bogged down every major project in recent years. It feels like kind of a fresh start somehow, like the entire IP is going back to its roots, back to a simpler, more innocent and optimistic time before all the bad stuff. And I have to admit, I was liking what I saw. I liked the charmingly earnest, old-fashioned intro to the team. No quippy one-liners that feel like they're desperately trying to emulate mid-2000s Joss Whedon. No gratingly obnoxious girl bosses putting the guys in their place. No sky beams and armies of disposable enemies to fight, and brain-damagingly over-the-top CGI. I like the focus on the Fantastic Four as a family unit, even if it does come across as slightly heavy-handed at times. Like I almost expected Vin Diesel to pop up with a bottle of Corona and start toasting La Familia. I like the retro-futuristic technology and the cityscapes and the cars with fins on them. Just like the comics, it's a positive and maybe slightly innocent 1960s vision of what the future might hold for humanity. You know, instead of the horrifying dystopia we actually live in. I like the fact that Marvel seemed to have fully embraced the look and feel of the original comics, from the bright blue outfits to Galactus and his massive fucking head, all the way down to the Thing's character design, rather than trying to reshape them into something cooler and slicker to appeal to modern audiences. And by that, I don't mean modern audiences. I mean people whose only experience with comic book characters, with all their weird and wonderful shapes and sizes and outlandish designs, is whatever sanitized, toned down, focus tested corporate sludge that Marvel decided to shit out in recent years. These are all positive changes. I don't know if any of them will actually carry over to the final movie, but for the time being at least, it does give me some kind of hope that maybe Marvel are learning from past mistakes.
Not a great plan.
That being said, there are a few minor things about this teaser that jumped out at me, and not in a good way, like when you jump out from a closet wearing a hockey mask while your significant other is passing by at the top of the stairs, and then come up with a completely plausible explanation why they tripped and fell to their death. The first issue is the casting. Sue Storm in the comics is supposed to be in like her mid-20s, and even the Josh Trank version adhered to that. Well, Vanessa Kirby is 38 years old now, and no offense to her, but well, she definitely looks it. I can't say I was exactly loving this dialogue from The Thing either. Like, considering how much time the teaser devotes to it, I kept thinking it was building to some absolutely killer payoff. But nope.
I want to add a couple cloves of garlic. Not because it's not delicious, I just want to add a little bit of zip.
In fact, I'm not even sure if the movie thinks it's supposed to be funny, or if it's just meant to be some chill slice of life segment for the four. Either way, it felt kind of tedious and didn't really tell me much about anyone involved, and so I kept wondering, why is this even in the trailer? It's become a meme at this point that any new high-profile project seems to have an obligatory role for Pedro Pascal, like he's determined to be in every film and TV production in Hollywood. But like most memes, there's also a grain of truth in there somewhere. I mean, I can't exactly blame the guy for enjoying his success after slogging away for years in minor roles, but well, there's definitely an element of Pascal fatigue creeping in these days. He's a good actor and everything, but holy shit, I don't need to see him every time I turn on my TV, especially in roles he's not really suited to. Just like Vanessa Kirby, he's a little too old to be playing Reed Richards at 49, but on the plus side, I think a slightly geeky character like this fits his sensibilities better than trying to market him as some rugged, grizzled, tough guy. In terms of the movie's box office prospects, I have absolutely no idea with this one. It's definitely being built up as the centerpiece of Marvel's lineup this year because, let's be honest, Captain America's practically a lost cause at this point, and nobody's going to give much of a shit about Thunderbolts, so this movie is where they need to win, and win big. And I just don't know if they can deliver on those expectations. From what I've heard, Marvel have finally realised just how badly they've fucked up the MCU, and have spent a lot of the past couple of years trying to course correct behind the scenes. And if I'm not mistaken, Fantastic Four might just represent the first steps in this new creative direction.
Right.
That's nice and all, but I can't help wondering if there's going to be enough of an audience left to appreciate it. Like, even the most die-hard Marvel fan would have to admit the franchise isn't exactly the cultural and financial juggernaut that it used to be. And aside from Deadpool and Wolverine, it's been churning out mostly flops and underperformers for years. Add to this a growing boredom with formulaic, cookie-cutter superhero movies, and you've got all the ingredients for a film that isn't going to be nearly as big a deal as Marvel are trying to make it, especially when it's going more or less head-to-head with another major superhero movie from DC, a film that's likely to cannibalize a lot of its audience. I don't know, man. I don't really want this one to fail, because if it does represent a change of creative direction for Marvel, then I'd like to see that change pay off. But at the same time, I'm not convinced it's going to be the start of a new golden age for the genre either. Marvel are gambling big time on this one, and right now, I don't particularly like their chances. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Hey everybody, I hope y'all heard what he said. Just saying, liked it. If you didn't, go still go give him a follow and let him know. But still, I have a feeling Pedro Pascal might be getting typecasted soon. He's always playing somebody's little father figure or whatever. I think he can do better, but that's what it gets. It gets cast as. So I said, Papa. But still, yeah. Marvel is this has cannot flop. They put all their eggs in one basket with this one, I think. Who knows? But yeah, I just want to say like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll leave this number here. I hope you had a wonderful night and the rest of the day goes really well. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.